Usually we've seen Charlottetown play maybe a defensive style of play. We saw it at times at the four lined up in the neutral zone, but also tremendous forecheck, tremendous pressure. Have you seen a difference in the style of play in the Islanders this year, maybe more offensive-minded than previous seasons?
You're always going to see that. Hard to play against. The work ethic's always going to be there. The forecheck is a key for this team. They got away from it a bit last weekend, lost the game in the last 35 seconds at Halifax a week ago tonight, and they were able to pull a game out here Saturday to split the weekend, but they didn't play well. I was down to practice here. Remember to say it was intense, and I think the message was sent and the lessons were learned. Even though they're in first place in the division, if they don't play well, they're not going to win. It's a good lesson to learn for a team in November, and looks like they've shown that they've learned that lesson here tonight.
Yeah, high expectations, I guess, and maybe even overachieving on those and not accepting it when the team lets down. Obviously, a big part of this Charlottetown team is Lukas Cormier, and these are the final two games he's going to play before he goes away to World Junior Camp. Athletic therapist Kevin Elliott has already gone for a World Junior Camp for Charlottetown. Just tell us how impressive Lukas has been. We know he's been great, but I overheard Corey Arsenault saying he's playing the best hockey we've seen him play since he came to Charlottetown.
He had a great rookie season here, really jumped off the page. He played with P.O. Joseph on the number one pair almost from day one. His calling card sort of that offensive-minded, good vision, good shot, but I think he's improved his play away from the puck. His defense is good. He's more of a well-rounded player. He got injured last year, right around this time, actually, with a foot injury. We lost him probably for about 8 weeks, somewhere around that range. And it still took him a while for him to get back to where he was. He looks like the Lukas Cormier of old here, early going into this season, and you expect that it's an NHL drafted player, and the guy that wants to show Zagos was right and that he can prove himself with Hockey Canada.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how he fares at camp. I wanted to ask about your position working with the Guardian here in Charlottetown. Has there been more demand to read your stories this year, or what's the difference in the COVID era?
I think everyone is excited to see some sense of normalcy. The Q back here, the Islanders back. It's been a busy fall. Before you know it, we're here in mid-November, and before you know it, we're going to be Christmas time and talking World Juniors, and before you know it, it's trade period. So, yeah, I think the interest is certainly there. The interest is always pretty strong here in Charlottetown and across the island for this team, and particularly since Jim Holton's been here. They've had those two runs to the semifinals, and even when the end of the cycle was supposed to be there, they kept pushing forward. It's going to be a good year, I think, for this team. The future looks bright, too. You've got all kinds of draft picks here, probably a pick in each of the first 6 rounds in the next 3 years or something crazy like that. You know, they've got pieces if they have to go get something to supplement what's already here. Don't forget they already used a first, second, and a third to get a Cape Breton kid, too, who's been a huge part of the success of this team. We were spoiled for years with Matthew Welsh, and Welsh graduated and gone to St. Mary's, and Jacob Gooby's the goalie of the future, but the goalie of the present is no doubt Colton Ellis. Probably goes underrated sometimes because he makes the game look so easy, but he's made a couple saves here tonight that could have swung momentum, even though Charlottetown was probably playing Cape Breton in that first period. You let a goal in, and all of a sudden it's 2-1 the other way. Your team can lose a little bit of confidence.
No question about that. Lastly, I wanted to ask quickly about Sam Oliver. Scored his first goal in the queue in Cape Breton. How impressive has he been as a rookie?
Yeah, he doesn't look like he's 16, I'll say that. Sometimes we've seen some kids come in, and it takes them a long time to show what they can do. Sam's been lucky, too, to get some opportunities with some offensive guys, and he's got a good shot. One of our former PEI Rocket, Matt Percy, said when he was drafted, this kid can shoot the puck, and he was right. He's going to be a good player for this team, and they drafted what they think is going to be Brett Budgell 2.0 after drafting Matthew Welsh's replacement the year before in Jacob Gooby. So they've done a great job here in drafting and keeping an eye on what's going to be leaving the system in a couple of years, and knowing that they've got to start that process early of finding the next group of kids that are going to lead this franchise.
Apologies for perhaps cutting you off a bit, just a bit of a different dynamic with the phone interview, but great insight, Jason, on the Islanders. Best of luck covering the team the rest of the season.
No problem. I appreciate your time, and obviously we're watching from afar here, your guys' team up there with 3 Island kids on your rosters. They're all good kids, and I'm sure I don't have to tell you that. They're going to have a bright future there.